Growing for reforming mental health services in the state. Governor Baker proposing legislation to expand mental health services in his final year in office.
Western Mass News reporter Leon Purvis taking a closer look at what local police departments are doing to effectively respond to mental health calls.
Although we're trained in mental health and crisis, we're not the experts like the clinician is. The police, more often than not, go to these calls not knowing what they're getting themselves into.
Last October, the East Hampton Police Department started a new way of responding to mental health-related calls in the community by teaming up officers with mental health clinicians.
So they'll respond to a call, but then in the days after, they will follow up with community members and see how they're doing and make sure that they get all the services they can possibly provide.
East Hampton Police Chief Robert Alberti tells Western Mass News the co-response program is beneficial for many reasons, especially having an expert assess the situation, taking pressure off police.
So if they can do evaluations on site, on scene, it'll lessen the ER trips for folks.
Chief Alberti tells us their goal when responding to mental health calls, divert people to other resources besides the ER. And Alberti says officers have embraced the program. We sat down with Emma Riley, the co-response clinic supervisor in East Hampton and South Hadley. We wanted to understand the evaluation process clinicians use to respond to such calls. That full evaluation could be determining what services they may need.
We definitely ask how they feel. We like getting responses that are in clients' own words. Sometimes clients aren't able to articulate how they feel, and then I'll base their mood or general feelings off of their presentation.
But it goes deeper than that. They ask direct questions that could be uncomfortable for people, but help assess what the client is going through.
I will ask them questions about if they're feeling like they want to hurt themselves. I mean, straight up. Do you want to hurt yourself? Do you want to hurt anybody else?
Riley tells us there is also follow-up after the initial 911 response.
And it can be a phone call to check in. It can be texting or emailing resources.
In Springfield, Police Commissioner Cheryl Clapprood spoke to City Council members this week about her department's working relationship with Behavioral Health Network when it comes to mental health calls. In 2021, Clapprood says there were nearly 2,000 mental health calls in the city of Springfield, and they have 6 BHN clinicians contracted to work with police when needed.
When it first started, they were skeptical of having BHN civilian on their calls with them. Now they don't want to go to call unless they got a BHN worker with them. So as soon as they're available, they're calling for them.
Western Mass News wanted to know how local dispatchers respond to mental health calls that warrant a police response. We sat down with Aaron Hastings, the executive director of the Westcom Regional Dispatch Center.
I think once a call gets to us, I think that most people have exhausted all other resources for mental health assistance.
Westcom handles 911 calls for Chicopee, Munson, Ware, East Longmeadow, and Longmeadow. They also work with clinicians from BHN, but Hastings tells us for certain calls, police have to make sure the scene is safe before a mental health expert comes in.
So that's the kind of situation that we're going to absolutely send an officer to make sure it's safe. We'll notify the clinicians at that point that they may be needed.
Governor Charlie Baker is advocating for legislation to address gaps in mental health services.
Now, as we come out of this pandemic, we know we have a mental health crisis.
Baker announced several new initiatives. They include things like a 24/7 behavioral health hotline, an urgent care program, Medicaid rate increases for outpatient health clinic services. If you or someone you know is in a mental health crisis, help is available. You can find more information about resources on our website, westernmassnews.com. In studio, Leon Purvis, Western Mass News.